I need to fix my apparatus. My apparati. Nice. Can't make a feedback loop. So it actually notified you?
Yeah, it says live right now.
Good. It doesn't show me who's watching. Did the other one go on?
I know I showed 10 seconds of it. And all it says is running the appetite, and then you did this, and it like bleeped out a little, and it was like,
Nice. How do I get rid of that crap? You can hear me? Is it good? Is it live-ish?
It says 2 are watching.
I know. Who's here? Where in the realm are we located here? I'm in California. I wonder if I could hook my... West Kentucky. Nice. Do we have any outside of the United Statesers? Canadian in Mexico. There you go. Yeah. I don't know about the notifications. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So if you're a Canadian in Mexico, does that affect your stance on the wall? And whether or not you guys are paying for it? We're still in shutdown, right?
Yeah.
You're on the right side of the wall? So that would make me on the wrong side of the wall, yeah? But there isn't a wall. Mental wall? It's like is the wall for keeping them out or keeping us in? Both. Did Trump ever say like why he actually wanted the wall? I don't think he ever said it. Did anybody get to actually see the moon last night? Was it red? I saw it this morning. It was very bright, but not red. Who saw the moon? I'm curious. Beep. You're still around? My sister has a friend in Fresno
Mm-hmm.
who started watching my channel like back when I first started it, and somehow she's still around.
Nice.
Wanted to, but sleep command prevented you. What? What's sleep command?
Just do it.
Hey Tiger. You sent that at 11:33. I'm sure that has a big significance. I Oh yeah. I was thinking that there was going to be some sort of energetics happening last night with the wolf moon thing going on, but there wasn't. It was kind of anticlimactic, I think is the right way to say it. I just worked and then I came home and then I went to sleep and then I woke up. And it was exactly the same as it was the day before. You're feeling it? What does it feel like? What does it feel like? Because I'm curious. I mean, it's really nice outside right now, so. Your dog turned into a werewolf, right? That I was asking people last night if anyone was going to be a werewolf, but they didn't want to answer. See, like, I'll show you the outside. You can see. It's very nice out here. See that? Very nice. I could open the mail.
Cool stuff you're open.
Sick beforehand, woke up, started piecing it all together. Yep. Similar story, huh? I don't want to do the mail. There's not even books in there. Does anyone hear a constant high pitched sound? I get the ringing just randomly or from time to time, but it's not ever associated with like an eclipse or something. It's always random for me. So has the government shutdown affected any of you in any direct ways aside from fear mongering, or aside from seeing the DMV office closed? How has it affected your actual lives? They don't want to say. What's that? In no way, shape, or form? That's a surprising thing. Free spirit. That's Deb, right? Are you Deb? I feel like your name is Deb. It's made constipation seem like a better experience. Which part? The government shutdown? What are you saying made constipation nicer? Canada, no effect. Yeah. I mean, I think if you listen to the regular news, the world is ending, right? Like everything is about to die. The trees are gonna wilt. What else? Martial law. All the Walmarts turn up. They flip upside down, and there's a jail stuck to the underneath side of them. And Jesus returns, right? What's the topic of discussion? I think we're talking about Donald Trump and Jesus. It might affect us more long term. Well, I watched a video yesterday about the subject. It was one of those not real videos where they just string together a bunch of random news clips and put ominous music alongside it. You just retired from government. But they were saying that Trump allegedly threatened to have the government shut down for a month or 2 months. Your rabbit had babies this morning?
Aw.
Your actual rabbit or your conspiracy theory rabbit hole creator? Are you saying you're more of a conspiracy person now, or are you saying you have more rabbit babies? What were we talking about? Do you remember?
Everything.
Everything.
The wall.
The wall. I mean, I had a theory that since we owe China since we're in debt to China, basically China is coming to collect the dues, and they wanted to feel more at home afterwards, so they're building a wall or something like that. I also heard that Trump is just playing chess, and he's trying to get rid of a few operatives that are acting as dead weight, and he needed to hit a month of shutdown in order to be justified by the book for erasing these positions. What else? I mean, I know a lot of it has to do with cleaning out the China questions. Yeah, how's it like in China? How's it like from the citizens' perspective? I know it's pretty oppressive. I had someone from China in my car just like a month ago, and he was saying his parents are they're afraid to talk about the government within their own within their own house, within their own bedroom. That's pretty bad. If they trust you and are open, they are terrified, right? And I also heard that they have like a meritocracy going on. As far as they're testing a new form of currency. Is that true in China? Like a social rating system instead of money? Kind of like Black Mirror episode. I forget which one it is. That's a political control system. So they still have just regular economics. I mean, we've had multiple different currencies attempted. I think it's important to an item of note is that when crypto came in, the fact that it was accepted on any level means that the government, the Federal Reserve issued sort of notes aren't as powerful as everyone is conditioned to think. Just the fact that crypto can come in and actually be somewhat viable means that the system will allow for fresh sort of currency to come in. It will just be a long process. I think we should go back to the tally stick. What do you think? Barter. Yeah. The tally stick is good. I think we should do the tally stick. We should get a tally stick.
And a knife.
Not a knife?
And a knife.
And the knife, yeah. You have the knife.
I have the knife.
You have the one knife that fixes everything.
Yeah. It's knife.
Does anybody have a tally stick? Like I wanna see a tally stick with someone that can explain the story behind each notch.
So cumbersome.
Like this particular notch here was how I lost my left hand. Wholeness family of Gaia. And the multiverses. The tally stick? The tally stick is just a way of recording. Tally stick is holding on to old shit. I know, but if you've never used it yourself, then it's not old. You can't call it old just because some human has done it somewhere. Some human has done every single thing that's ever existed. If you haven't tried it yourself, it's not old. I'm gonna get a tally stick.
Can you sell the stick?
Yeah, we're gonna open a tally stick market. You have to trade in all of your dollars to get the tally stick, and the dollars come to me, and I'll dispose of them for you guys. What is it? What is a tally stick? It's just like it records the like a what would normally be a monetary transaction. So if you trade, if you go trade I don't know. I actually haven't even thought about how it would work, but if you just gave someone something, then and they didn't have anything to give you in return, then they would notch on the tally stick, and it would be like a debt that you owed, that they owed you, something like that. Yeah, I mean the Schumann thing. What was that? So, remember that thing that like the energy made like a massive wave? You showed me that, right? The magnetosphere. Yeah, that thing has been jumping all over the place. Yeah, it's supposed to be like an equal. It's supposed to be an equal exchange. So if you're transacting energetic interactions with other beings in any form, it's supposed to be reciprocal for the most part. Of course, there are going to be slight imbalances, but under that system, you don't have people who are allowed to do what they do here, where you say they are worth billions of dollars. That's just absurd, and it doesn't. That's only a thought form. It has very little actual relevance to what we see. The hierarchy is like 1,000% mental. Be easier with a notebook. Yeah, it would be easier with a notebook. That's how banks got started. Keeping track of everybody on the ledger. All of the conscious community is in the US. Every single person. Yeah, the tally stick was just a recording device, but it is able to be used for economics as well. Jackson is 3.5. He's going to be 4 in May. $13. Nice. Thoughts and perception out loud. What does that mean? Does that mean you speak every single thought that comes into your head? Your son is a crystal child? Old school? You're gonna have to narrow that down a little bit. Soul token idea? It's always dead air. What are you talking about? Or it's always alive air. That good ass prana, baby. The way this thing is displaying your messages to me is kind of like Snapchat, where I can read them for like 2 seconds and then it just disappears. So I have no way of like looking at the thread. Wait. Maybe I can. Ooh, I can put people in timeout if I want. I can also add moderators. Nope, my phone's not that. Oh, maybe I can. Oh no, I can. Yeah. So we have, what do we have? We have a Canadian in Mexico. We have somebody in well, I know we have someone in California. That's Maya's in California. Or Beep. How's Fresno State, Maya? Are you still going there? Wrinkle in Time. This is not my first one. I've done like 2 other ones. Yeah, Susie's in Ireland. No. It's like my third. You switched majors from electrical engineering to economics. Oh, so yeah, so you can talk about tally sticks now. This is good. What made me live stream? I don't know. I just had a thought that said live stream, so I live streamed. I think I've done 2 other live streams ever. But I tried working today and nothing's happening outside and the weather is super nice. And I wanted to see how people were feeling after that blood wolf thing. I'm 33. Be 34 in July. According to Lovette, I'm a Gemini, as opposed to Cancer. So I'm the air sign. Floaty. Yeah, I didn't notice that the wolf is flow backwards. I didn't notice that before. Also, like reversing just the audio. You can find different things from anybody. Really? I've had this for a while. You feel like a stalker? I mean, you're basically on my bed in the bedroom with me, so you kind of are a stalker. Anti-clockwise. Do you guys have any topics you want me to talk about? You thought you were an Aries, but you're a Pisces. The eclipse was about earth and water. Matt's book? I listened to chapter 2, I think. Because if I remember right, the first chapter was just him explaining what the book was going to be like. And then chapter 2 was the actual start, if I remember right. Is he actually selling like hard copies of that? I feel like live stream now. What does that mean? How did it feel when I woke up? Awakening story? I didn't have like I didn't have an awakening story per se that happened like in one day, but I would say it started in my early 20s when I became very jaded with the school system, and I was in it for, I'd been in it my whole life. I was in college. And so it finally started to hit me that something was off, and then I went and then I saw that Zeitgeist movie, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen, to trigger something or other within, internally. And then, of course, I went to everybody around me and said, hey, something's up here. What's going on, And of course I got shut down, but yeah, Steven, he texted me just a couple days ago. He's around. Actually, speaking of Steven, I need to do another book reading from his book. I am gonna finish that book. 6666. He was born with 2 extra thumbs. Really? His channel's gone? I don't think so. I think he's, unless he just deleted it, he's been posting videos up till like the last little bit. Check out Jacob's Family Farm. Sure. But yeah, so like, and I also had trauma things that happened that like, I had things that happened that showed me that this whole thing was just a construct, only a construct, and it wasn't anything that special necessarily, but the way that people carry themselves regularly and the mindsets that they have little to no relation to what it actually is. And that, of course, if you think that you are the narrative that you've been sold, is very traumatic. So having to come out of that has been 10, 15 years of integration from when it first happened, but it's no longer traumatic for me. "17 magic mushrooms, I was never the same." How did you decide to try magic mushrooms? Gotta look at my phone to make sure it's not about to die. Orientation is locked. What? Okay. Yeah, could you say how? Right. How did you decide to take mushrooms again, or what brought that about? How did you take mushrooms? What were the circumstances? And did you have a sitter, or were there people with you? Did you do it by yourself? Was it dark? Was it light? Were you in the forest? I'm falling asleep. Yeah, if I had a clock. You were with your friends in the park, so was it just like it was available, so you just thought you'd try it for fun? Shits and giggles? You weren't like, oh, I'm gonna get into this spiritual thing and have an awakening, right? They left you. So they were bad trip sitters? Well, sometimes, people can be worse sticking around if they're assholes, so maybe it's better that they left you. How is Saki the dog? She spelled it Sockie. I'm gonna think of that now every time I'll show you Saki the dog. Saki's gonna get really mad.
Here we go.
Want to say hi to the people? Don't bite me. Come on. Over here. Over here. You want to say? Want to say hi? There she is. There's her tongue. Saki, look here. See her tooth? Right. There. She got a crazy tooth. It's Saki, like S-A-K-I. S-A-K-E. Like the drink.
Like steak.
Like for Pete's sake.
Yeah, she's Snaggletooth. I wrote a poem called Snaggletooth, but I lost it somehow. Not a poem. She just laid down completely on the camera. Like you can't get that close. Okay. I saw the writing under the boar. We are all shamans. What's the boar? Like a pig? Like a wild boar?
Maybe it's the year of the pig.
Mm. Read it out. I saw the... Oh, wiring. Under the boar. Wiring. Like you saw the structure, like the matrix structure, is that what you're saying? Bored. You're bored? What do you think about accidental... accidental awakening? Yeah, I think awakening has to happen. It's like if you're sitting at a satsang or something and the guru is telling you about whatever, and everyone's like, yeah, I want to wake me up, please. And then they find out later that they're going to be horrified and they're going to die 1,000 different ways. And they're like, no, I don't want to wake up. Take me back. And then so then you hold off for a really long time from even looking at this thing that you call awakening. But whatever it is, it comes for everybody. So I think it's whether it's accidental or on purpose, it happens for everybody at some point. I was asleep. The universe had other ideas. Yeah. I was ready. I will upload my story. Yeah, I mean, if you want to come on the channel and talk about it, you can. It's pretty open. I let anyone who come on who's not a douchebag. Went down a lot of rabbit holes to get here. Yeah. The rabbit holes will never end. You have to be able to have a part of you that entertains the possibility spectrum, like quietly somehow, to where it's not causing you to have a panic attack, because it's too much information. You can't think about all that and actually be considering it. Seeing the fabric of reality. I mean, Lauda says when she first came in here, the thing wasn't even put together yet. Like, she was looking at, you know, she was seeing like the framework of the reality, just like in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when they rebuilt the world the second time. Lauda says when she came in, it was like that. It was like just the bones of the thing, and then after she was here for a while, it slowly started, you know, filling in as per her own creative input to the realm. I've listened to the first 2 chapters, I think. I just like listening to Matt talk. Like, he hasn't said anything. I don't think he's gonna say anything new in his book that he hasn't said 1,000 times on the channel already, but I like listening to him talk, plus he says it in a very funny way. I typed Tal comment, don't panic. Yeah, Matt's really funny. And he's always checking himself, you know, like he'll be talking about something and then he'll come up with a question that he thinks the subscriber is saying. He'll be like, but Matt, what about this? What? He's always doing that. Like every other sentence is hilarious. He's like self-checking. Self-policing. Yeah, Levette's awesome. I keep trying to get her on the... Quantum of Conscience. I keep trying to get Lavette to come on, but her internet is crappy or something, or she has difficulties getting the technology things to work. But I think she'll probably come on at some point, hopefully. Saki. Everybody email Lavette and tell her that you want her to come on the show. Then maybe that will help it happen. Saki's in like. I kind of like Saki, like Sokkie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saki, you're blocking everything.
No.
Saki's eclipsing me. Yeah, Lavette's good. Like half of the people, I remember Matt, when Matt was still like questioning, doing a lot of questioning. I remember he put together a list of people, and he's like, these are the people I think haven't been corrupted, and you know they're actually saying something. And it was like, well, among them were Aurora, Lauda, and Lavette, and all three of those, well, only Lauda and Aurora have come on this channel, but like he was pretty accurate about his people judgments. Yeah, Aaron, yeah, he was good. Hey, Laura. It's just my internet connection sucks. So the end of the show was a bit off. I did know she called your farm a zodiac. The only one that I hadn't heard of that I had heard of before Matt talked about them, I think, was Og. How Og came to me was I was like, it was when I was still sleeping in the car, and I was still I was like on the flat Earth thing for a couple minutes or like a couple months. I mean, I didn't ever buy into it as a philosophy, but I thought it was interesting because people were actually having thoughts aside from cyborg thoughts. So I was listening to Devin Madgy, and I fell asleep listening to him, and then no, I didn't even fall asleep listening to him. I fell asleep listening to some other YouTube video, and then I woke up to Og's conversation with Devin, and I remember thinking like, oh, I know this guy. Somehow, his voice was completely familiar to me. And then I woke up, and then I ended up contacting him at some point. And yeah, I've been following him. I've been following Og's stuff the entire time. And I did 2 shows with him, I think. I did one, or he did one with me, and then I did one with him, Steven, and Christian Sanderson. But I deleted that one because Steven and Og had a tiff. So I had to delete that one. Yeah, you can use whatever. I don't care. Matt McKinley? Is that his actual last name? No. I didn't think Flat Earth was a distraction. I thought it was... Flat Earth wasn't a distraction to me. It was like... For me personally, it was just like I don't even know what you call it. Like a timestamp or something. To me, the flat Earth idea was just to see what people could entertain more than one worldview inside of their head without tripping out, and that divides, the responsible ones from the ones that are potentially raging over anything. Yep, you're welcome. Thoughts and Perception. What's your name? Thoughts and Perception? Have fun at work. I'm supposed to have a cat here too. I'm supposed to have a kitten, so I'm not going to stay at this place very long. Because the landlord says no cats. But I've had cats all my life, and I need cats, so we'll stay here for a year maybe. Then we're going to go into the woods and build a treehouse. Is Flat Earth just a sign that people are just reinventing to make other people look stupid? No, I don't think that's what it is. I think for those of us that have been sort of acting as time capsules inside of the reality stream, Flat Earth is just a marker. It's like a familiar thought form that helps you remember a little bit. I haven't caught up on the water fast. Yeah, I did it for 3 days. And yeah, I mean, wasn't anything that big of a deal. I wasn't hungry. I went and hung out with family and saw Jackson and stuff and wanted to eat because people were eating, but it was pretty uneventful. I've done a juice fast for like 10 days, which felt a lot different. But I think being that I'm much more centered and grounded now, things don't affect me. Almost anything I do doesn't affect me very much. So not eating for 3 days didn't affect me that much. And I'm always doing breath work anyway, so like Ralph Smart says, but I'm not going to say it. Who listens to Ralph Smart? Be honest. Raise your hand. Who still listens to that guy? His channel name is Infinite Waters, and he has like over 1 million subscribers. His name is Ralph Smart. I used to listen to him a little bit, but then I didn't. That expresses series. What? I didn't get that sentence. That expresses series that I've never thought about. Only thought about, but never heard anyone else talk about. Never dogged him? Like you never talked shit on him? Yeah, the subscriber thing, yeah, it is a thing to an extent. Ruthie Kelly, what's up? What's the crake? I don't know what a crake is. The subject, there isn't a subject. It's just rambling like always. But if you want to speak some words, you can make a subject if you want. She's Irish. Ah, so you can go talk to Susie. flat Earth, round triangle, it's really inconsequential. Good Ars Prana, yeah. Like crikey? Is that what you're saying? Crikey, mate. I'm Irish. I have freckles. They're not very apparent anymore. They kind of blended. Can you see them? A little bit. They used to be like black and white. I used to get teased in middle school. Just one tear. Inner standing channel is amazing. What's inner standing? I have some pet peeves, and the word understanding is one of them. Just wrinkles? I don't have wrinkles. What are you talking about? My Botox isn't working? What the hell? Another version of turtle with earth on its back. Yeah, this turtle's all the way down. If you want my actual interpretation of flat earth as far as it's actually relating to the shape of the actual thing we actually supposedly actually live on, the one that I liked the most was the idea that it's an infinite flat data stream, two-dimensional like a piece of paper, and your consciousness somehow takes that, like you got this flat thing and your consciousness takes it and interprets it into 3D. That was the one that made the most sense to me. But even that, like, it's not important. It's more like mental masturbation. Dublin? Yep. I'm Dutch, Irish, German, but I think mostly Dutch. Linear loop data stream, pi instead of phi. Well, the linear loop is only that's just what you're entrained to be in all the time. It's not your only option. The entrainment can be broken, but you have to get a glimpse at least of what is outside of that single narrative bullshit line. And there's not actually a force that is like forcing you to stay on that. It's yourself forcing yourself to stay on that because you're scared or worried that, you know, you might not like what's outside of that one way of seeing it or whatever. We come up with 1,000 different rationalizations for not moving, especially if you've been through a lot of trauma. If you come to a space where you're allowed to rest for 3 seconds, then you're not necessarily trying to jump off into the next dimension immediately. Flat Earth for me was important for one reason only, and that was for separating people who could entertain multiple world theories without slaughtering each other from the people who could entertain it without slaughtering each other. It's like, from, if you're thinking of a galactic perspective, if you throw a flat Earth to the inhabitants and you see some of them start arguing and getting pissed off at each other, and you see some of them laugh, then you know the ones that are laughing are the ones that are not just in kindergarten, they're in like 2nd grade. The 100th. I've heard of the 100th monkey, but I forget. What, you need help with the breath work? Like what? Can you elaborate a little bit? Yeah, yeah, right. Like when you see concepts for what they are, then they become just tools. Like they don't, none of them has one more weight than the other one. You're perpetually lazy? The ones that were mad were trying to dick to China. If you're lazy, then breath work is probably going to be harder because it requires attention. You have to keep. You have to have some willpower. You can't just do it. It doesn't just go by itself. It's not hard. It's just like breathing in deeper and then breathing out deeper. But it does change it changes your consciousness. Like you can go into altered states. That's what holotropic breath work is about. You're going into the subconscious. Am I into flat earth research? I was never into research. I was never into research. Everything that I ever encounter, I see it as like a plaything, like it's philosophical fun. I don't see it as like dire situation. What's up, Crocodilla? Crocodilia? Where are you from? Yeah, it's gonna be fine. Of course, I assume everyone who's speaking is talking to me. This is my narcissism show. You're from Michigan. Your name is Adrian. You should go talk to Christian Sanderson. He's in Michigan also. My cousin always hopes to get you as a driver when she goes back to the Bay Area. Do you pick up a lot of Facebook people? I'll give her a ride. I got nothing else to do today. Tell her to email me. GAPAWA1985 @gmail.com. What else? Well, I'm in Vallejo. I'm like on a day like this, I'm a good 45 minutes away from SFO. Thank you, Laura. So I would need like an hour's notice if I were to pick somebody up. Oh, but what I was saying with flat Earth is it's the point of it is so you can look at your perception versus what you consider objective reality, and then you need to find out that objective reality doesn't mean anything. That's what flat Earth is about, because most people have never even had entertained the notion that when you think about what Earth is, you're always thinking of it as if you're like a fucking NASA satellite or something. You're not that. You're a human being on a little tiny section of what you perceive to be the planet, which is like 20 miles this way and 20 miles that way. So bringing into your thought space the idea that the Earth as you think is populated mentally for the most part, except for that tiny little dot that you're sitting on, you're carrying a mental picture anyway. It's not, unless you're out in space looking at it, then you're not looking at it. You're mentally looking at it. the actual intelligence that is actual intelligence is not related to concepts whatsoever. They're not related. The concept mind is like the slave mind. I see your comments, Raphael. 60 minutes and 47 seconds. We're on military time, apparently. Yeah, intuition. Intuition is higher. That again is the point of meditation, because it shows you the nuances of yourself, which previous to that you didn't even know existed. If you're stuck just in mental, in the conceptual mind, your world is as constricted and as tiny as it can possibly be, and you don't know it. And you're probably in a lot of pain subconsciously, and you also probably don't know it. People just walk around holding things mentally, and they hold resentments, and they hold these views, and that have no relation whatsoever to the thing that's actually out there. Hey, Julie. You're the first generation to be born outside of Ireland. Nice. There is a balanced marriage between intellect and intuition. Ideally, there should be a balance between all of the aspects that make us up. There are many aspects. It's like Gurdjieff used to say. He would say the human has compartments. There's like rooms of a house, and he's saying until the person awakens internally, whatever you are as a being. What's up, Daniel? Until that awakens, the whole house is empty, and there's like nobody's running the ship, basically. And those are what you would consider NPCs. Those are what you would consider the robots or the droids. And when someone actually comes awaken inside of the body, then it's fully... Bye, Deb. I think your name is Deb. Take care. When the thing is, when you become awakened inside of your own body, there's nothing else there. There's not any external authority whatsoever. Nothing. And if you want to sit and say nothing for all of your life forever, then you do that, and nobody says anything about it. But each person comes to that in their own time and in their own way. Religions are neural hacks designed to create mental friction between large groups of people that produce high amounts. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly an amount of loosh harvesting going on, and has been going on, of course. What's up, Kim? But that's been going on forever. That's not a new thing. The only new thing that exists or can exist is if you as the individual break your own programming. That's the only possibility of something being new. New doesn't happen on societal levels. And for the most part, people are okay with doing what they've been doing. People don't like change. Even if somebody signs up for a self-help guru, they don't really actually want to be, they don't they don't want it. They like the feeling that they're changing something. They're not. For the most part, whatever you consider to be truth, people don't want it whatsoever, like at all. Not a bit. No, I don't think people are the ones that are being masochistic and sticking with their pain are only doing so because they sat there and they allowed their pain baggage to just get massive. And for them to look at it, I'm full of fear and existential dread is cool. If you let that thing get too big, then you can't look at it. Like it gets, you have that's why you have to do self work. If you're not doing self work, it's going to come run your ass over. And, if it hasn't come if it hasn't come and actually run your ass over yet, then you're just running from it. Your entire life is you running away from your own bag of shit that you created. But if you deal with it on a day-to-day basis and keep yourself clean, so to speak, then you're not constantly hearing a freight train coming to run you over. And we make most of it up anyway. Like, for instance, if you have something inside of you that, with a loved one or a family member or even someone who you currently hate, if you have something inside about that person, in other words, it's not just neutral, then you have something to do. Like, you have work to do. You need to go talk to that person. You need to release the resentment, tension, because it's poisoning you. But we convince ourselves, we have this narrative going on. We are fully convinced that what we're thinking about that other person, which is allowing the resentment to stay, is just the life. That's what the world is. And it's not that way. Like, if you go and talk to that person, you'll find out whatever you were holding inside just has nothing to do with it whatsoever. Yeah, you go through all of the stages, of course. My battery's at 10%, and it's also been like 70 minutes, so I'm probably going to wrap up fairly quickly here. It is true. It's where you put your attention. It's true, but you have to have done. We have so many subtle layers as beings that we if you're not doing the self work, you don't know what they are. Like you don't know these little tiny things because like armor damage is at 10%. Yes. You'll sabotage yourself if you haven't been doing the work. You just sabotage yourself. How is Og? Og is same as Og always is. I think we had a chat like a week ago. Plus, he's posting regularly on Facebook. I mean, he has he has like a public sort of panic attack every couple months or something, but he seems to get over it pretty well. Let's live stream in the future. What do you mean? What does that mean? This is live streaming, isn't it? Are we in the future and I didn't know about it? Maybe I'll make some cool effects for you guys. Yeah, bubbles. Dawn. I detox pills while MMA training and it hurt, but the pain is very minimal. Never touched. Yeah, don't touch the meds. They're gonna fuck you up. The best like high that you can get is natural. I do have PayPal, yes. Next time you're in England, let's meet up. Yeah, sure. We're gonna do a trip at some point. We're gonna go visit everything. No dancing. I can put dance party on though. Yeah, if you want to donate or something, the link is around somewhere. I'll put the link in the bottom. Your fart smells like Fruit Loops? It's exciting. Don't pick hookers. I don't think I've ever picked a hooker up. You have? Do you want to say hi? You picked up 2 hookers in the same car, same day? Oh. What happened? They were dancers? Here we go. Back to the Future. Did I ever? I think I have. I like this one. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I picked up some girls from I forget the name of it. On Broadway Street in San Francisco, there's a couple of titty bars or whatever. I picked up some girls from there. They're not any different than any other humans. Probably more honest. $75 Phone's getting ready to die. Does anybody have any other questions or comments or insults or anything? Ooh, that was nice. Cancel. I never know how to get rid of those screens once I brought them up. How do I do it? Oh, there we go. Okay. But I don't like that one. Yep. Since nobody's saying anything, then I guess we'll finish with meditation. So we'll meditate for like 5 or 10 minutes. Alrighty. Stretch it out. Wiggle it out. Move the body. Be nice to yourselves. And